thank you very much for joining. And if you're working from home today, I'm sorry, it's going to be probably incredibly hot. Hopefully not too hot now. We're a bit lucky. I'm in the office today, and we've got our office actually used to be owned by an air conditioning company, so it's incredibly cool and actually a little bit chilly. But to warm back up, we'd basically just step outside for 5 minutes. So yeah, hopefully you're managing to keep cool. So our session this morning is all around highlighting sort of collaboration within Word and some of the features that are available in Microsoft Word as well. I know organizations are sort of moving, not necessarily moving away from Word, but collaborating in other tools as well. We here at Qlic, we use PowerPoint quite a lot. I think we might have done a session on that or one coming up. And Word is one of those, I think, where people sort of scrape the surface of it and perhaps use the bare basic stuff without knowing some of the other collaborative stuff that we could do. You could genuinely do probably several hours of content on this, and I'm sure there is lots of YouTube content out there doing deeper dives than I have time to do this morning. But we've got about 15, 20 minutes of content that I'll do. A few slides first, just sort of introing who we are in case you don't know. And then I'll do a live demo, which I'm sure will go wrong at some point because they always do. And then we'll open it up to a short Q&A session as well at the end. You should already be able to see, for anyone that's joining us now, the Q&A button at the top of your toolbar in Teams. There might be a chat function there as well. So as we go along, if you pop them in there, we should have time at the end. Hopefully we will. If not, then we can obviously collect those up and send them around afterwards. But I'll try and find some time at the end to run through those as well. So I'll quickly kick off with an introduction to us for those that don't know. So you may have attended sessions before, you may work with us before us, or some of our existing clients and some people that I've worked with for a long time on here as well. So we're Qlic IT, so we've got over 20 years experience. Actually, it's 25 years, I found out the other day, next year. So we've got a big one coming up next year for celebrations. 25, coming up to 25 years experience of helping organizations and not-for-profits all over the UK with kind of everything IT, really. We're a team of just over 50. I think we're about 52 now. We support just over 300 organizations all across the UK with kind of our monthly IT services. So that's covering all areas of IT, really. So it's managed IT support services, as you can see on the screen here, cybersecurity, cloud solutions, all the way through to things like telecom services as well. So that's VoIP and mobile and broadband. We try and encompass everything that we can in there. My colleague Ray, I think, has popped a link either I think it is going to be in the chat, which will be to book a consultation. So if you are in need of any help with any of those services, or even if you just want to take a look and go, we're paying for something at the moment, are we getting the best out of it? By all means, book a consultation, and that'll be with myself. We can have a chat through those and see if there's something we can help you out with as well. Before we get to the demo part, I just wanted to kind of explain the difference. So we still come across a lot of organizations that are using standalone, what we would call standalone Office, or the perpetual version of Office, the kind of one-off purchase version. So if you've either bought that from, I don't know, somewhere like Currys or Amazon, or if you've bought it, if you're a charity, if you bought it through somewhere like Charity Digital Exchange or TechSoup as a one-off purchase, you'll be on the left-hand side column of what we've got here. So what I wanted to kind of highlight, and there's probably more that I haven't picked out here, but these are some of the things we'll show off today, is some of the key features lacking in the standalone version and why lots of organizations are moving over to using the Microsoft 365 version. So to start with, really, we've got the Copilot integration. So you'll all have, if you've got a Microsoft account, for example, you'll all have Copilot Chat, the free version, which you'll be able to access through your web browser, or it might be built into your Windows laptop. If you wanted to move towards the paid for version, which is the Microsoft 365 for Copilot version that we're talking about, and I'll run through a little bit later on today, you do need to have the Microsoft 365 apps. Now, most of the time, if you're going down the Copilot route, you've probably got something like Microsoft 365 Business Standard or Business Premium. Both of those come with the Microsoft 365 apps already. So it'd be really easy. You're very likely to already have those. Same with documents shared by email. So again, Office Retail, you can't do real-time collaboration. I'll show you how that works in a moment. It might be something you've already seen and didn't realize how that working or what it does, or if you're using Standalone, you may not know anything about it at all. Manual saving versus AutoSave. This has probably saved me more times than I care to admit. But there's a huge difference here, I think, really with AutoSave and version history as well. There's a lot of organizations. Microsoft hide it a little bit, the version history. So I'll show you where that is and how you can see any documents you're working on and collaborating on as well. And then the final one, really, I suppose, is a bit open-ended, but we've got evidence of this over the last year or two with Copilot, is a fixed feature set on the Office Retail version versus continuous new features on the Microsoft 365 app. So the one you buy, if you buy it from, like I said, Currys or Amazon, or if you buy it from Charity Digital Exchange, they come with a fixed feature that you'll get security updates, but you don't get any new features in there. The Microsoft 365 version, because it's subscription, is constantly updated. So some of the features here that we're talking about weren't around when Word started and have been developed since. And obviously we're now moving into the realms of Copilot as well. So I'll quickly, I'm going to drop my share of the slideshow for a moment, and I'll bring up the Word document that I want to show you. So here's the document I made earlier. Yeah, the old, is that the Blue Peter? I think it was Blue Peter. So I want to show you off some of the features that we've got here as we get started. So you'll be able to see, the first one I want to start with, I mentioned earlier on, was real-time co-authoring and collaboration on a document. So you'll be able to see in the top right-hand here, a little picture of my colleague Ray. It tells me where Ray is, and I can see an icon here as well, which shows Ray as she's hovering over the version number. Be able to just edit a couple of the sentences or a bit of section on there. So as we can see, that's happening in real time. Again, if you're using this, you may already see this happening, but you won't necessarily have known it's been happening. If you're using things like, what's a good example? Well, standalone Office, but if you're using things like Dropbox and stuff like that, you might be used to seeing conflicting copies, where multiple people have tried to edit the same document at the same time, and then all of a sudden it comes up and says, oh, there's a second version of that document, third, fourth, fifth version. With Word, and particularly with the Microsoft 365 version of Word, you don't have that. We can real-time collaborate on these documents as we go along. So to do that, what I would have done, what I have done previously with Ray, was share it to her. So I can see up here, I can go to share, or I can copy a link. And then when this loads, you'll be able to see I can choose who I want that to go to. So if that's a name, a group within our organization, or a particular email, internal or external. External may be slightly different. So some organizations may have their Microsoft 365 lockdown that they can't share to external. So you might need to set people up as guests and unlock and things like that. But most organizations are set up this way. I can choose if I want them to be able to edit it, review it, can view it, or even if they can't download it. So in this instance, I've sent it to Ray and obviously said that she can edit it. I can add a message in there, and then I've got a little copy link if I just want to send it as a link, or I can actually send it and it will automatically generate an email, share that over to Ray for me. And then I can also do link settings down here as well. So I can actually set it to be anyone within Qlic can see it. Only people with existing access. So if I've already set this document up and stored it in a location, let's say on our SharePoint, and other people have got access to it already, absolutely fine. So if they don't have access, for argument's sake, if I was to click only people with existing access and I share that out to our entire team, if they don't have access to where that document is, they'll still get the email, they won't be able to access it. And then the final one, obviously, if you want to do individual people, would be people you choose. And like I said, we've got options to view, edit, can't download, and I can also set an expiration date. So particularly good if you're sharing documents outside of your organization, we can control how long they can edit that document for, access that document for, all within the document itself. We don't need to do anything else for that. So that's the kind of real-time collaboration and how we get someone collaborating on that document. The other one I wanted to show you very quickly is version history. So this is a little bit hidden. There's a couple of ways that you can get to this. So you can either go to File, Info, and then there's version history down here, or the quickest way that I like is just click on the document name and then the version history button down the bottom here. So what that will do, it's loaded it on my other screen, I'll bring it over. It shows me a second version of the document with the changes, so I can show edits or I don't have to show edits. And I can also roll back to any previous version of the document as well. So when the document was created, near enough, I think it keeps up to 500 edits within the document. So near enough all of those will pop back up on here. I'll be able to click back in, compare the two. So for argument's sake, if I go back to, so this is the one that Ray's edited. If I go back to the one previously, this is the one I've edited, and I can restore this any time. Or for argument's sake, if I just go, I want to copy a bit of the content out, then I can easily copy straight out of here, paste it back into my live document as well. So everything's saved. This happens almost instantaneously for you, and it's all the way through the document. So if you make a mistake, or someone saves over the top of it, we used to have this a lot where we'd get template documents that people use, and then someone would save over the top of them. We can version history back to that and either restore it over the top or just copy the content that we want to jump back to the previous version. I also want to quickly show you comments. So again, people may be using some of this within Word already, but if you're not, it's a particularly powerful feature. So like I said, I'm collaborating on this document with Ray, but if I wanted to add a comment into a section, so let's say, for example, let's pick something out. let's say I pick this first sentence here. This policy applies to all personally owned smartphones, tablets, laptops, desktops, etc. So if I say, actually, I'm not sure on that, I can add a new comment in with my name. I could say, at Ray, are we sure this applies to all devices? What have I even managed to type it right? Then I can assign that to Ray as well, and I can send it. So not only does the comment stay there and I can see where it's highlighted, that will then send an email over to Ray. Ray will get the email in her inbox, can click on it, and it'll take her straight to where this document is. Now, this is not a huge one. This is about 11 pages. But if this was 50 pages or 100 pages, which I know sometimes funding applications and project applications, things like that can be, that's a really nice way to collaborate, even if you're not sat in the document together. Ray can then come back in and say, yeah, that's fine, or tick that off and say that's been completed. And then I'll get a notification to say that's been done as well. So particularly good if you've got multiple people working on a single document. Instead of having long email chains, sending documents back and forth, editing, you do it all within the document itself and just use these features to then send out back over to the person that you're collaborating with. Now, what you might have noticed, and some of you may have this already and be using this already, I kind of wanted to show off before we go some of the Copilot features. So everyone will have access to Copilot chat already, so the free version of Copilot. I wanted to show off some of the stuff that you can do within Word, within the apps directly. Now, some of these are really powerful, and I would say, like I said, we use PowerPoint quite a lot here, and particularly in PowerPoint, it's really good. So if you're editing a PowerPoint document, you've got all of your branding in there already. You can go into the Copilot within PowerPoint and you can say, add another slide using our branding, this time talking about XYZ. This is a really good job. It's not the quickest thing in the world, but it's probably quicker than me creating it myself or asking someone else to do it. It's particularly good, and they've got a lot better. So if you haven't played around with this for a while, if you've had it for a while and not been using it, I would really recommend doing it. So the first one we'll do, so let's say for argument's sake, I'm an employee and I've just received this BYOD policy from our IT team, or from our IT provider, or from our leadership team, and I want to go. I haven't really got time to read it. I just need to understand something quick about it. So obviously I can do a quick summarize. You can see there's quite a lot of options here already built into Copilot. So this is Copilot within Word. There's lots of options, things I can do about it. So I can draft an email direct from it, draft a project plan, draft a meeting agenda about it if I want to. But I'm just going to say, summarize this document into five key points. Very nice and easy. And obviously, like I said, this is 11 pages, not too much to read. If this was 50 to 100 pages, that might be more difficult. But you can then go back and query this all the time. So obviously, I've asked for the initial 5. If I say, well, actually break that down, I've got some concerns about something, break that down into something else, or I can go highlight security requirements as one of the suggested features. That will then go away. Again, read the document through, collate it, understand it for me, and then help highlight what I'm looking for as well. There you go. So you can see it shows you, this might be new. So if you've used Copilot within here before, this sort of stuff will be new to you. So previously it didn't do a lot of thinking. It would just very quickly spit out an answer, and it was okay. It wasn't great. It's got significantly better, probably over the last 3 or 4 months even, actually. So this is now kind of looking through and understanding a bit more on the document what I actually want it to do, and to help me understand all of the relevant controls as an individual, what's actually relevant for me. So I can go back and keep querying that over and over again. I think if I click there as well, yeah, you'll see so sort of breaking it down, checking my work. Here we go. So it's gone through and highlighted the main areas for me around cybersecurity, which is excellent. I don't want to keep that, so I'm going to undo that. It's good to know that we can do it. So the next one I want to try is I'm going to use it to rewrite a section. So if I'm preparing this for colleagues, and for argument's sake, what was a particularly complex one? Yeah, okay. So if I pick out the mobile device management and application controls, what obviously with these documents, particularly things around BYOD like this, we want to make sure that it's technically correct. We also want to make sure everyone's going to be able to understand it. So if I select that area, and I'm just copying my prompts because you would better keep up with my writing, I wouldn't have thought. Yeah. So I'm just going to ask it to rewrite it in plain text. As you can see, it's doing it in front of me here, so it's updating everything that we need to do, and then I can either hit undo if I want to, or I can hit done. I can go back and say make it more concise, add more examples, explain it better, put it in bullet points, whatever I want to do. But it just makes editing this document really easy. And as I said, if you've then made those changes, you can then use your comment section, share it to colleagues, let them see what else is going on in there as well. So I'm going to go ahead and keep that as a change. The final one I wanted to show on here was using it to actually generate content as well. So obviously we've used it to edit existing stuff that's there, um, but I want to be able to use it to generate. So it's read this whole document, understood all of the context of it for me. So what I want to do is, on a new page at the end of this document, create a BYOD checklist for managers to use during onboarding new staff. So it's great. We've got this policy. We want to make it as easy as possible to show that our colleagues, our leadership team, have actually gone through this and everyone's taken a look and understood what their requirements are of it. So if I flick down to the end where I've asked it to put that, you'll see it starting already to add this on as a document. Now, something it doesn't do at the moment, it sort of does, but you do it backwards. What you can't currently do within here is say, create me a PowerPoint presentation out of this document from within Word. What you can do is open up something like PowerPoint and say, create me a document from / and then find this document, or start typing the name and it will search through your SharePoint or your OneDrive and find this document. So if you want to create something from a document, you need to point from the app you want to create it in back to this, not within here pointing outwards. Hopefully that makes sense. So with not too much context at all, it's obviously come up with a checklist for me. It's confirmed everything they need to do when they're onboarding a member of staff. If I want to add on a review, it's already done that for me. So we can mention who it was for within the document as well. So we've got usernames, etc. They can obviously print that out. I can set that as a separate document if I want to. But rather than just starting from a blank page or asking people, how are you tracking that you're doing this? Very quickly, I can put something like this together. You can also, as I did, use ChatGPT to generate this Copilot to generate this whole thing. So within the document itself, I can't remember what my prompt now was yesterday. It was something like, create me a BYOD policy for Acme Charity. Now, I gave it no other context, so I didn't tell it anything about our IT setup of Acme Charity. Just said, go out there and set a policy up for me from scratch. So it's done that. It's come up with all the version history. It's put everything into headers and things as well. So we can obviously condense it. We can set up a contents page based on that as well. But it will all follow within really the way that you should be using Word. The reason I mention that is because I think it's particularly important to be able to look through your existing documents and add more context. This is where it's particularly good. So if there's things that you've created before or haven't been updated for a while, you could even go in and say, look, within Copilot, you could say, I'm about to update my BYOD policy. What do I need to ask, or what do you need to ask me to be able to make this as relevant as possible? And it will go away and say, you need to, have any changes that happened since the last time this was edited? Are there any more users in the organization? Is there any extra technology that you're using, software services, etc., that may be impacted by it? And all of that reasoning that you're giving it and all of that kind of conversation you're giving it will then come back within the document and actually make it even more concise. So here at Qlic, we've got lots of template documents for stuff like this. We do put a lot of organizations through Cyber Essentials because we're ISME accredited and an approved operator. So for those situations, we would usually say, here's a lot of these template documents, AI policies, things like that. That's another one that people sort of worry about, stress about a lot. Use AI to build it, but just make sure you're giving it context. Don't just say, I need an AI template. It's great as a starting point, but then you want to read that and go back and go, oh, actually, we use Microsoft 365, or we use SharePoint, but only certain users have access. Or, we have volunteers and trustees in our organization, they're email only, and sometimes they will access online. We don't want them to be able to download to their device. So can we be specific there? So really have that contextual conversation with it as well when you're working on these documents. So I know that's really quick, and if it was too quick, hopefully the recording will help afterwards. But that gives a kind of an overview on some of the already inbuilt features within Word, plus some of the Copilot stuff that you can do as well.